It's bait.
So, Saturday night, I watched Furiosa, the latest in the Mad Max saga. But is it a sequel to Mad Max? Or is it a prequel to Fury Road? Or is it something else? Anyway, so, what did I think? This is the story of the girl who will become known as Imperator Furiosa, and her quest for revenge against the man who took everything she ever loved from her. The warlord, Dementus. Tell me, have you ever seen The Thing? No, not the John Carpenter classic from 1982, but the cheekily titled 2011 prequel that starred Mary Elizabeth Winstead and told us what happened in the doomed Norwegian camp beforehand.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
No? Well, I can't blame you. It was perfectly adequate, but it was nowhere near a classic, telling a story that really didn't need to be told again. Well, that is Furiosa in a nutshell. Now, there is much to like about Furiosa, but the problem is, well, it's outweighed by its problems. Now, you can see what the director George Miller was trying to do. Just like the Mad Max films that came before it, Furiosa is about the legend. This is a classic hero story. Her quest, if not for justice, then for vengeance, and how she will become the character we saw on Fury Road. But this is also Miller's folly, because just like the 2011 Thing, we already know the ending. We know that Furiosa will liberate the people. We don't need to see it again. Miller assumes we want to. Now, like I said, there is much to enjoy in Furiosa, especially the performances from the two leads. Anya Taylor Joy is perfect as Furiosa. You believe her development into the fierce warrior. However, the film does belong to Chris Hemsworth as the warlord Dementus. He's sporting the most ridiculous prosthetic nose I've ever seen, yet he holds every frame when he is on screen. His character is a man driven to insanity by tragedies in the past, yet he also plays him as a violent, unstable idiot, unable to hold anything he has taken. He is a force of chaos that tears apart not only the lives of others, but the lives of his own followers. But even with this excellent all-round cast, there are problems. Granted, not of Miller's making. See, Yuki's Byrne was brilliant as Immortan Joe.
Once again, we send off my war rig to bring back gasoline from Castown and bullets from the bullet farm. Once again, I salute my Imperator Furiosa.
But sadly, he passed away between films, so Miller has had no choice but to recast him. Now, he's gotten an actor who looks like Joe, and with the prosthetics, the makeup and the costume, you can get away with it. Until he opens his mouth or walks across the screen and suddenly you realise this is not the same guy. There are moments where you're actually thinking, am I watching an Ed Wood film?
Nobody will ever notice that. Filmmaking is not about the tiny details, it's about the big picture.
Visually, this looks spectacular. At times. With what I believe is a breathtaking opening shot that, for the very first time, confirms Mad Max takes place in Australia. It's a far cry from the first Mad Max, where Mel Gibson had to redub himself into an American accent because distributors were afraid people wouldn't understand Australian.
Hey, Max!
Can you hear me, Max?
Go ahead.
We're 100% snafu.
You okay, Goose?
Nothing a year in the tropics wouldn't fix.
Like I said, it's spectacular at times. There are also moments where the CG effects stand out like a sore thumb, reducing the film to just another effects-laden summer blockbuster. There are moments of practical stunt work that will make you gasp, but again, unlike Fury Road, there will be obvious elements or moments that have been clearly created in post-production that quickly takes you out of the picture. But the biggest problem is the screenplay. As I said, this is telling us a story we already know the conclusion to. The answer is not to make this 2.5 hours long, a half hour longer than its predecessor. Did we have to get 30 minutes of Furiosa as a child when 10 minutes would have done? As for the ending, well, it tries to be different than what has come before in Mad Max, but in doing so is deeply, deeply anticlimactic. Then, Miller appears to lose his nerve, forcing in moments merely to remind you that this is part of the Mad Max universe. Everything these days has to be a universe. Including a credit sequence at the end showing events in Fury Road, which unfortunately, as you're leaving the cinema, reminds you of the much better film that came before. And a cameo, with about 45 minutes to go, that Miller must have thought the audience would love, but instead gives us a moment that leaves the audience scratching our heads, rolling our eyes, and saying, "But that makes no sense."
Order! Order! Order!
There's a lot of discussion and conjecture on why Furiosa has failed to light up the box office. Well, I can tell you why. Just like that Thing prequel in 2011, it's a totally pointless film. Oh, there's brilliant acting, the cinematography is visually stunning, and the stunts are amazing, but the film is also empty. I would say you have to watch it once on the biggest screen possible, but don't be surprised in a month's time you barely remember seeing it.
Please, sir, I want some more.
More?
All right, stop it. Stop it right there. Go on, fill up the bowl.
And if you liked this episode of So What Did I Think and want to see more, please click like and subscribe. Remember, always subscribe. Thanks for watching.